It's Sunday morning, and every decent man and woman is listening to Test Miles with Nick Miles on FM News 101 KXL. Buckle in.
It's Sunday morning, time to talk cars for the next 60 minutes on your weekly automotive radio experience. I'm Nick Miles. You're listening to America's automotive radio show, Test Miles, locally created, nationally celebrated. A lot to talk about this morning. Let's start off with some personal news here. So I had an event over the weekend which was quite dramatic. My nephew, who was in the studio Christmas last year, and I remember William and Nicholas, William is on the British gymnastic team. And he got enough points to go to the World Championship. Went to the World Championship over the weekend, with the World Cup, they call it, which was in Portugal. And there were 4 boys that made the team for tumbling, which is what he does. We got the message late Friday night that he hadn't made the final. By
one spot or something,
yeah, one
right?
spot. He came in third, and only the top 2 boys go through. The judges failed math. Overnight, they recalculated the score when they re-added them up and found out that he actually had got second place. So my sister's immediate reaction was not, it's incredible for her son, but oh, the poor boy that thought he made it through didn't make it through.
That was my first thought,
right.
The empathy for the
So
other kid.
I saw video this morning, which I posted on Facebook, where William actually was the number 1 at one point during it, but he couldn't hold on to that first place position, but did come in 4th in the world. So congratulations, William Breslin. 4th in the world in gymnastics tumbling. So that was the first thing. The second thing is, just want to send out our wishes to Sean. He's not doing well today. He's sick. So we want to send out get well soon for Sean. All right, let's talk about car stuff. Of course, Misfits, Rascallions, and Ne'er-Do-Wells in the studio this morning. Brad Boyer, Old Man Brad, and Genya the intern. What's coming up on the show this morning? We'll talk about what we've been driving. I've been driving the Ford Escape and the Honda Accord. Brad, you've been in...
the Highlander Hybrid.
All right, we'll talk about that. Also coming up on the show, VW admits, to the cheating scandal for diesel. The company is releasing a new Passat this week. Probably the hardest time for them to be doing so, but we'll be finding out what this car has to offer and why customers should really consider it after all the news that's been going on. America is going SUV crazy. Mercedes-Benz are overhauling its entire SUV lineup. That includes the GLK, which now becomes a GLC. And I spent 3 days in Atlanta. We're driving that. So they have a new home in Atlanta. It's new headquarters for Mercedes-Benz. We'll find out all about the GLC. And if you want to freshen up your car, now imagine your car's paint job doesn't look, looks kind of bad from the outside. It looks
I can imagine it,
yes.
actually.
Does your car look bad?
I went outside and looked at it.
Yeah, your car needs a little bit of TLC. Well, rather than having it resprayed, we have a solution for you. Some guys are going to tell us how you can actually make your car look pretty for about 20% of the cost of respraying your vehicle. So this is the part of the show when we talk about what we have been driving this week. I'll start off with the Ford Escape. Now, Ford's sales numbers are through the roof. And it's not immediately obvious why until you actually get into their vehicles. Because I see them on the road and they don't seem to be that amazing just looking at them. But when you drive them, they actually meet all the marks. The Escape is a 5-door crossover. If you're considering running out and buying a car before the end of the year, great time to do so. Turbocharged engine, delivers strong performance, high fuel economy, many high-tech features, very agile in the handling, high-quality cabin and comfort, and seating is very comfortable. The lacks of in this vehicle, it lacks interior storage. The cubbies seem to be a little bit lacking. Awkward base control layout. If you don't have all the bells and whistles in this car, it's kind of shabby. And I think really nobody's going to be buying a vehicle quite like that. And it's not quite as roomy as its rivals. 2.5-litre four-cylinder or a 1.6-litre four-cylinder, or you could even go to the 2-litre four-cylinder. Between 168, 240 horsepower, 6-speed auto, front and all-wheel drive. You can get the best miles per gallon in the Escape, 29 miles a gallon. So what does it go up against? Well, it's a Honda CRV, the Hyundai Tucson, Nissan Rogue, Toyota RAV4, Mitsubishi Outlander Sport, the Mazda CX-5, Subaru Forester, Jeep Cherokee, the Tiguan, the Sportage, and the Traverse. A lot of cars in that segment.
So why is it that Ford doesn't seem to have much buzz? I mean, we look at these cars, and maybe it's just us. We talk about the other ones, and it's we're just comfortable with Ford? What is it?
I think they've managed to make cars which scoot under the radar, and they meet all the needs that everybody wants, but they're not crazy.
So
apart from the Mustang, which is probably the best car, one of the best.
So this is the boyfriend
cars.
you should be with.
Yes.
But we don't always go there until we're older and smarter.
Yeah, your life will be much simpler with a Ford. It seems to be like they're not doing anything crazy, and they're hitting every box. They're checking every box, but they're not doing anything crazy. And to be honest with you, they've invented this new trim level called Platinum, which they now have in the Explorer. That's more of a luxury vehicle. So you can go from anything from the base, very trim, corporate, maybe as something a city would buy for its employees, all the way up to a real luxurious version of the vehicle, which means that you can still get an Explorer, you can still get in these vehicles like the Escape, you can still get into the titanium version of the Escape, and you can have all the bells and whistles, or you can get into the S version, which is the base version, $24,345.
Also, to add a point on, if you are planning to buy any Ford product, they're going to be launching some huge deals over the next 3 months, starting of about, I think, November 4th or November 6th.
Yeah, it's usually till the end of the year because they're trying to push all their sales numbers up towards the end of the year, but everybody does it. We always think of the holiday period as December to Remember from Lexus. They kind of own that. So that's kind of cool. It was a cool. Also, I've been in the the Honda Accord, which is the second best selling. It's interesting how they do these numbers calculations. If you look at pure sales volume, the number one midsize sedan in North America is the Toyota Camry. But if you take out the fleet purchasing, which Honda don't do, the Honda Accord is more bought by individuals. It also happens to be the number one vehicle in California, the number one sold vehicle in California. So the Accord's a big deal for Honda. They have a new version, a four-door family sedan, high-quality interior, refined and efficient powertrains, exceptional ride and handling, balance, quick acceleration, generous standard features, and available coupe style, which is what I've been driving. Touchscreen interface. They've got things like the lane watch system that you can get in these vehicles. Lots of collision and safety features, especially their ACE body structure. And I would say adaptive cruise control in this is excellent. Touchscreen interface isn't as easy to use as its competitors. I have a hard time with with Honda and Acura. I have a hard time with Honda and Acura. Their Bluetooth interface seems to be chunky, difficult to use, but everything else about their system takes a little getting used to, but it's great. I would also say that it's not as pretty as its competitors on the inside, but it is fairly usable. You can get a 2.4 liter or a 3.5 liter V6, up to 278 horsepower in the Honda Accord. They've also added those dual eye headlights in the front, and Honda have started to go to the Acura transmission where you push the buttons, which is one of my least favorite things in the world.
You talked about that initially, and then I got into the vehicle. Couldn't agree more.
I think it'll be fine if you own it, but if you drive it for a week like we do, I'm looking down every time I need to change gear. And if you need to go into reverse quickly because you backed out into the middle of a street and there's a car coming, yeah, it's like it takes extra seconds, which puts stress on me. 6-speed auto, CVT 6-speed manual as well. So front-wheel drive version, 31 miles a gallon is the combined 37 on the highway, and it goes up against a whole host of cars we mentioned already. 4 different trim levels, $22,925. Not a bad starting price. Still a little more than things like the Passat, but it's about $1,000 more than the Passat.
Again, yet another vehicle that just does everything it's supposed to do.
Right.
And dependable and quality and all that.
Absolutely.
And I love their safety features. The cameras, when you flip on a turn signal and you can see on your screen what's going on the side.
The lane
yeah,
watch.
it's great.
All right, Brad, what have you been driving? We've got a few
I
minutes
had
here.
the 2015 Toyota Highlander Hybrid, which is the 7-passenger, 3-row. I don't know for sure whether it's a SUV, crossover, minivan, truck. It does everything.
Yeah, it's a very big mid-size SUV, I think.
And it's got 3 powertrains, the 4-cylinder and the 6-cylinder, which can run you somewhere between the $30,000 to $40,000 range, and then you go up from there with a few added features. The hybrid is quite a bit more money. It's about $6,500 more than the V6, which will take you well over 5 years to get that money back. Ironically, though, it's the most powerful of all of the offerings there. The 3.5 V6 is coupled with a high-torque electric drive motor engine. It gets you 28 miles to the gallon. It's really enjoyable to drive. We are going through this transition with my wife where she's moving from the minivan demand, And this is the vehicle. She came out and she said, "This is the one I want now." Because it's got 4 captain's chairs.
You're going to get a 4th job now, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. So it's got 4 captain's chairs. The one I had, there's 2 options. They're pretty nicely equipped. One is the Platinum that we had, which runs about $53,000. We'll probably not be going that route. But great vehicle.
Really?
Drives great. I really give this a 10 out of 10. I'd probably go with the V6 over the hybrid just because I won't keep a car for 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, you're probably 8 years more likely to get your money back on that.
Correct.
I would agree with you. Everything you said. I think it's one of the best vehicles out there. My only downside to this vehicle, it's priced a little high.
It is high, and you have to compete with the Lexus possibly. But there is a one of my favorite features is the driver Easy Speak with an amplifier where you can talk to the kids in the back.
You don't have to turn your head, the microphone, and it puts it in the back speakers. Love that. Plus, you can get like 52 juice boxes in the middle. You're listening to Test Miles on FM News 101 KXL. Coming up, we're going to find out all about the new VW Passat. That's next. I'm Nick Miles.
Test Miles, like NASCAR, but with one right turn. TestMiles.com.
Welcome back to Test Miles on FM News 101 KXL Automotive Radio Show, live from our studio downtown Portland. For all the latest automotive news, follow us on Twitter at Test Miles.
All right, here's our fun fact number 1. Now, I worked for Volkswagen, but not this far back. In 1962, Volkswagens accounted for 60% of all imported car registrations in the United States.
That's incredible to think, and it's probably all due to the Beetle.
Absolutely.
I would probably think. We've heard about all the VW news concerning the diesel issues, but as the company wrestles with public opinion and compliance issues, their product department is forging ahead with new investments in new cars. I spent a few days in Stowe, Vermont, test driving the new Passat. But is this car going to have enough to attract a new customer with all the negative publicity currently surrounding the brand? The answer to this question and many more is going to be answered by Jim Birch from VW. Jim, not much to talk about this morning. I know that you guys, there's no real news on the diesel, but you actually are forging ahead with new product. And the Passat, do you think it has what it's going to take to attract the American buyer into the showroom?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And thanks for having me this morning. Yeah, I mean, the new Passat, it's redesigned. It's got plenty of new things to talk about. And most importantly, it has Volkswagen's new modular infotainment system, which we call MIB2, which also is kind of a whole new secondary aspect of the vehicle itself.
Now, this is probably the hardest segment to get a foothold in, especially since Camry and Accord seem to sort of have a lot of the segments sewn up. But when you start to look outside of the Camry and Accord, there is a lot of really good stuff, a lot of really good vehicles, and pricing-wise as well. You've really priced this vehicle to be competitive in the segment, haven't you?
Exactly, and that's really what we're very excited about. Not only do we have such great new features, all these new driver assistance systems, but we're offering all of this at prices that are, if not model year 15 pricing, but very close to it.
And really what you're doing, let's just go through the vehicle, what you've done with it. So the exterior has been changed, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. So everything from the A-pillar forward is completely brand new, so new hood design, new front fenders, and we're offering for the first time for a VW sedan the LED headlights, which are available starting in our higher trims as standard, but they're available also for our entry model as an option. And then looking to the back of the vehicle, completely redesigned as well with a new deck lid, rear bumper, and the chrome applications on the car. Everything that you see on the standard car, the chrome is identical to what you'd see on an SEL Premium, which is our highest trim. So a lot of great value for the customer.
On the inside as well, quite a lot of new equipment, including a new steering wheel.
Exactly. Again, it hasn't been untouched in the interior. The new steering wheel is one thing that you noted. That's to accommodate all of our new driver assistance systems. So, for example, we're now offering adaptive cruise control, which features front assist, which is our autonomous emergency braking. So naturally, with all these new features, we need to have new tools to accommodate this, and the steering wheel does that. We have the MIB2, which is our infotainment system, which offers App Connect with all three platforms, so Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and MirrorLink. So all three, most of the smartphones out there can sync up with the car, which is something that the customer is really going to enjoy.
A lot of more more comfort. The one thing I will tell you, the Passat knocks me out of the park, and every time I get picked up at the airport and I'm in a Passat, I get in the back of this vehicle and I'm blown away by the amount of legroom in there. Did you still keep the large amount of legroom in the back?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's 39.1 inch rear seat legroom, and I'm 6'7", so getting into vehicles can always be a challenge. But I have no problems in this vehicle. Just you sit very comfortably in the back, and that's really what we're known for with the Passat in the segment. As you mentioned, it's a cutthroat segment. It's very difficult, and we're best in class for rear seat legroom.
Let's talk about the USBs. Now, this is one thing that VW has always frustrated me much with, is the fact that the amount of USBs in the car has been zero in the past in some vehicles, but you guys have actually changed that.
Exactly. So, now that's standard. We'll have one USB port standard on the vehicle with the entry trim. This is in combination with our new infotainment system, which has the touch screens standard, and then you can get two USBs with our SE trim, which is $26,280. So that's the same price as our Model Year 15 SE, but again, you'll have the App Connect with that trim, along with the two USBs, one in the front and one in the back.
When does this vehicle start to arrive in dealers?
It'll be mid-November.
So mid-November, we're looking for these to arrive in dealers, and the starting price is around $22,000?
Yes, exactly. It's $22,440. This is the exact same price as our Model Year 15 S trim. However, as I've been saying, so much more standard features such as rear view camera, automatic climate control, the USB, as I was mentioning, and with the much faster and higher resolution screens.
Let's talk about that infotainment system for a second here. That's something that's sort of touch screen. You've really expanded it. What features are coming with this?
Yeah, so you'll have the ability to now, with our MIB composition system that's in the SE trim, you'll be able to actually sync two phones at the same time, which I don't know if we're the first to offer this. So
Just that thing alone, by the way, makes me feel happy, because we obviously, if you bring me and my other half, we always fight over whose phone gets synced in the car.
Yeah, exactly. And when the phone rings, all you have to do is just whoever's phone is ringing, make sure choose. If it's not synced at that time, you just hit the screen and it'll pop up. So it's very 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 convenient and great to talk about.
Yeah, so a good feature. So a new infotainment, lots of new features. Do you think this car has what it takes to go up against the competition?
I do. I think it's you've driven the car. It's a great car to drive. It's got the 1.8 liter turbo engine, which is we're the only ones in the segment to offer a standard entry turbo engine. So it's fun to drive. The car drives wonderfully, in my opinion. It's a real driver's car, and I think this is to VW's heritage.
To their credit, right. Well, Jim, thanks very much. This is Jim Birch from VW talking about the new Passat, and I will tell you, enjoyed my drive in that vehicle. Definitely a great improvement, and they've kept that rear leg room. You're listening to Test Miles on FM News 101 KXL. Coming up, we're going to find all about the new Mercedes GLC. This replaces the GLK. I spent a few days in Atlanta driving this vehicle. We'll talk to Dana from Mercedes, who will fill us in on what the new GLC will look like. It's Test Miles on FM News 101 KXL. I'm Nick Miles.
Throw it in neutral and coast in with testmiles.com.
A Live from our studios downtown Portland, a Sunday morning. This is America's Car Radio Show. I'd like to thank you for being part of the Car Nation. For more fun facts about cars, go to our Facebook page, Test Miles Entertainment.
Here's a fun fact to impress your friends. The 1936 Mercedes 260D was the first mass-produced diesel passenger car.
There you go. Another first for Mercedes. 2015 and 2016 can truly be called the year of the SUV. This year, the SUV is growing in numbers due to low gas prices and the onset of winter in America. Basically, all Americans have become SUV mad. Most car companies can show an increase of their sales purely due to the large number of SUVs and trucks that they've been selling. Mercedes-Benz, no exception. The company has recently moved to their new North American home, which is Atlanta. They've hired 300 new people. They are 13% up in sales globally. They have 9 new models in 2016 coming. Not a bad few years for them. Now, every SUV in the company's lineup will be new. I spent the last week in Atlanta with Mercedes-Benz checking out the new GLC, which replaces the GLK. Joining us on the phone is Dana Hedrick from Mercedes-Benz. Dana, welcome to America's Car Radio Show. The new GLC, bigger than before, right?
That's right, Nick. Thank you for having me. The GLC is, in fact, about 5 inches longer and a couple inches wider than the outgoing model, GLK.
Now, the GLK was a surprisingly fun vehicle when it was introduced, especially a lot of new things on it for the Star Wars. I remember being played the Star Wars theme out of the new sound system when they launched that in Santa Barbara. But the GLC sort of takes it a step further. It kind of all grew up, didn't it?
Yes, that's true. We really have listened to that GLK customer, and that was a wildly popular vehicle for us. But we've listened to the customer that drove that vehicle and taken all the feedback into account and really delivered something in the GLC that we believe is a best-in-class performance for that mid-size SUV.
Now, you added in a 9-speed transmission as well. Is that purely to help with fuel economy?
Well, it also helps with the driving experience. We think that 9-speed definitely helps for smoother shifting and overall just a more enjoyable drive. But it does also contribute to the enhanced fuel economy of the vehicle.
One of the things I'm surprised at with Mercedes doing than a lot of other companies is they've done this sort of air body control system where you take you do a light. They do this thing with light and with air. So you not only have a lab where you can see the airflow over the outside of the vehicle, but Mercedes also do it with lights as well, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Yes, and that air body control would be optional on the GLC. And it really adds a lot to the driving experience, especially if you use it in incorporation with our Dynamic Select, which is standard. Another cool feature with air body is that it will actually lower the vehicle when you're loading it in the rear. So it actually tilts the vehicle down about 1.5 inches, which makes it much easier to load the back of the car. I
think that's probably one of my favorite features is the fact that when you can do this air body control, you can get the vehicle down in height just to get all the things in the back of the vehicle. You know, if you ever load in, like for me, older dogs, it always helps to put the car just down a little bit so they don't end up hurting themselves too. More space. One of the biggest things I was surprised at was really more space in those door pockets. Well, in the press briefing that you guys gave us, you told us that some of the door pockets were up to 300% bigger. When I got inside, I think I could have probably fit inside one of these door pockets. You've made them absolutely huge.
That's right. Using our front base system, which relocates the subwoofers and some of the speakers with the sound system, we're able to max out that space for storage. We've got more cup holders, 17% more cargo space behind that second row, a 15% wider loading compartment in the rear, 64% more space in the center console, 27% more in the glove box. I mean, we really went all around the vehicle and added lots more space for storage and comfort.
And I find myself filling up the door pockets with all my. I even put some cupcakes in the door pocket when I stopped off for coffee because there was so much room in there. Let's talk about the safety systems. Obviously, that's a big issue. If people didn't already know this, that in a recent survey over the last 20 years, the least recalled car company in North America is Mercedes-Benz. They have the least number of recalls per percentage of cars produced. Safety and quality is really big for you guys. You basically have put on every legal safety system in the U.S., haven't you?
That's right. The GLC really benefits from all of the intelligent drive features that Mercedes-Benz has developed over the last few years. And really the goal, for Mercedes-Benz is accident-free driving. And I think the GLC is a beautiful example of our commitment to that. Standard on this vehicle, you have Collision Prevention Assist Plus, you have Attention Assist, and you also have Crosswind Assist, which is an important feature for SUVs to resist the shifting that can come with high winds so that you are able to maintain your lane on the road. And then we have optional safety features such as Distronic Plus, Blind Spot Assist, and Lane Keeping Assist that all, really help the driver avoid accidents.
I will tell you, I drove the Sprinter van, huge fan of the Sprinter van, through these. They set up, Mercedes Sprinter guys set up some jet boats, which have those giant propellers. They set 3 of them up on trailers, and we drove past them in a Sprinter van. Enough wind to blow the van over, and yet this crosswind assist stopped the vehicle throwing over. You have the same thing on the GLC, and I got to experience it. Unfortunately, we were in the tail end of the hurricane in Atlanta last week, and the weather wasn't exactly what the event planners had planned for us, but we drove through some windy, gusty areas, and we really felt the system kick in to keep the car planted on the road and going straight forward.
That's great. I'm glad that while the weather wasn't what we had hoped for, I'm glad that you got a chance to experience that in the GLC. I hope you were also trying out the 4MATIC when that weather was moving through.
Absolutely, and the Attention Assist as well. In fact, so comfortable. I have to tell you a very delightful story. So on the way out, it was about 120 miles in the first leg of the drive, and I was so comfortable in the passenger seat, and all the navigation was done by the navigation system, so we didn't have to do map reading, and I just decided to lay back and relax, and before I knew it, I'd shut my eyes, and my driving partner, John Vincent from the Portland Tribune, snapped a picture of me and posted it on social media, asleep on the ride and drive. And so the result was, of course, when he got into the passenger seat, the same thing happened. He put his head back, and before you know it, he was out asleep. I took a picture of him, but I sort of one-upped him. I posted it to my 100,000 Twitter followers, and he asked for a truce that evening. Said, "Can we have a truce, please?" So I can purely attest individually that I have tested out the comfort of the GLC, and it was sleep-worthy.
I'm glad it was that comfortable, but of course we don't advise falling asleep at the wheel.
Well, that's why you have the Attention Assist, isn't it? So we can't fall asleep at the wheel. That was where all this was going. Dana, thanks so much for being with us. The starting price, $38,958, is that right?
That is correct, and it is $40,000 with the 4MATIC available.
Okay, and when are we going to see this arriving in Mercedes dealerships in the area?
Here toward the end of the year, hopefully sometime in December.
All right, so if you want to go test drive one, look for them in dealerships at the end of December. Dana, thanks so much for being with us, talking about the new Mercedes-Benz GLC. When we come back on Test Miles, we're going to be talking about a way you can make your vehicle look so much better than it already is for about 25% of the price. And we'll also talk about Project Tyrant, which is our new project vehicle you'll be able to see at the Portland International Auto Show. You're listening to Test Miles and FM News 101 KXL. I'm Nick Miles.
It's Test Miles on FM News 101.
Live from our studios downtown Portland, Sunday morning. This is America's Car Radio Show. We'd like to thank you for being part of the Car Nation. For more fun facts about cars, go to our Facebook page, Test Miles ENT.
Here's a fun fact to impress your friends with. 80% of the cars registered in Albania are Mercedes-Benzes.
Yeah, at least they got that country sewn up. Does your car's paint job look a little scary this Halloween? Do you want to put some cool flames or stripes and make the design a really cool company car, maybe a logo on it? Well, we have the people in studio to help us talk through this and also talk about our Project Tyrant. Now, originally you guys were from Battleground Printing, but now you have your own company, don't you? You've been on the show before.
Yeah, it's all commercial now. So we're going around and helping out other shops and doing commercial installations and stuff like that.
You were so good at putting the wraps on cars that you decided to sort of go solo.
Yeah, we figured everyone else needed our help, and so we wanted to spread out. And
So tell us about the new company.
it's just a commercial installation. So we just go around, we wrap things for other sign shops and, other commercial entities and stuff.
But you're still doing some of the design work yourselves?
A little bit here and there. Some auto restyling, stuff like that.
Right. So if you want to rewrap your car, we have the Project Discovery from last year, which we have. Let's say we wanted to rewrap it. What would it cost to someone to wrap maybe a mid-size SUV?
Mid-size SUV. I would say, depending on what you choose, what brand of material you go with.
So is a starting price of maybe
about maybe 18.
So and I just checked out respraying the vehicle, and the cheapest respray I could find was like $7,000, and that didn't include the door jams.
Yeah,
which is so you're about quarter of the price.
Yeah, and you can do different levels of that. I mean, you can go in pretty deep into the door jam so that you don't get any of the color of the old car.
Right.
If you went with a more expensive material like the chrome, you could probably get up to that price, but it's just depends on the effect you want.
Yeah, I don't know if I really want my car to look like Justin Bieber's car. It's not. And
very shiny.
Wait. Do you have to hand wash them when you've done this, though? Is that the downside of that? You have to hand wash the
with
car?
the chromes or the...
Well, with any of them.
I mean, they make a waterless cleaner that you can use, but, I would suggest hand washing it because, there's automated washes and whatnot.
Just kind of tough on the car. Yeah. So wrapping your car instead of painting it, do you get requests for some crazy wraps?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like?
Just people's favorite brands and, designs and hey, let's wrap my whole car in a floral pattern because I'm really into that or something like that. And you're like,
we did a Raiders themed Camaro not long ago.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool though.
Yeah.
I mean, the Raiders might not be the best team ever, but they're definitely, their logo is cool. And when you wrap the car with Raiders stuff, it's kind of cool. Yeah. I guess if you're into crafting, you probably want the floral design on the outside of your car. If you're a Justin Bieber fan, maybe you want the chrome look on the outside of the car. The big deal for now I'm seeing a lot is these matte colors. So people are going, hey, I want my car wrapped in a matte color.
Yeah, and it's a little bit easier to do because you rock the matte look for a while and then you're tired of it, you rip it off, or you go to trade it in and get a new car. Maybe you're getting a new Mercedes or something, and you rip that stuff off and away you go. So.
Right. So it's easy to change. And I don't know if you do it to yours, but I know some guys who have wrap companies that change them all. My saddest thing ever, when I saw the 4 different Portland police car designs that they had this one with flames coming out the wheels.
Right.
And they decided not to go with that one. And that would, I think, set our city apart so much. They just weren't brave. Cowards, right. I would say. Cowards in the design department of Portland Police. You should have put the flames on the... You might have found 10% of the people didn't like it, but everybody would have respected you for just being artistic and yourself, and Portlandia rocks.
I think they should let the officers maybe design their own cars. They got to get stuck with them. So,
Unfortunately, if you've ever worked for the police force, you share your car with probably 5 or 6 other people, so that it might come down to a very difficult decision. Some of them would just have, they would I want something you can't see.
Right.
Give me an invisible car so I don't nobody knows I'm there. All right, let's talk about Project Tyrant in our last 4 minutes of the show here. This is our new project for this year, so you're on board with this. Project Tyrant, we have a 1999 Suburban. Baller is going to be doing the exhaust. Lund Industries have given us steps and fender flares, and we managed to secure a 6-inch lift for the vehicle. We're getting wheels and wheels from a wheel company in LA. Peter over at Mobile West is doing the interior. Brian down at Certified Automotive Repair in Salem. They've already put a new engine in the vehicle. We're going to have some custom front ends. We're going to put a tent on the roof, all this sort of stuff. Now, it's supposed to be a Baja vehicle. There's 4 rules for the vehicle. It has to be drivable. Mm-hmm. It has to freeway speeds, like 80, 90 miles an hour. It has to be drivable, which is legal in Idaho, by the way, if you were thinking it's not legal in Oregon. So it's got to be drivable, freeway speeds. It's got to be economical, which means that it can't do a mile a gallon. That's obviously not going to affect you so much, but it affects the guys that are doing all the mechanicals. Like, I don't want a thing that I have to fill up every gas station we pass. It has to be off-road capable, which means that this thing's going to be taken in Baja. It's going to get muddy. Those are the things we need to think about that when we put an exterior skin on it. And also, you have to be able to live in it for a week. So if I drove into the middle of the desert, I would have all the facilities to keep myself alive for a week. Right. So those are the rules. And Tyrant is Tyrannosaurus Rex. After this, a little bit about the dinosaur if you don't know. It has 3 times, this bite is 3 times more powerful than a great white shark. So you think you guys can come up with something?
Oh, yeah.
So you're thinking maybe scales, or you work with Peter to come up with something?
Yeah, I mean, you'd mentioned he wants to do like a skin type pattern. Maybe we can do like one of the new textured films or something and incorporate the colors into it.
All right. Well, we're rapidly running out of time in the show, but maybe what we could do with this is you come up with maybe some designs we can post online and let the viewers choose.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
It'd be fun. So maybe 4 different designs.
Yeah.
All right. You'll need to check out Test Miles for that. How can people get hold of you guys?
You can find us on our website, mxcmedia.com. So if you run a sign shop, call us up, or if you're a consumer, call us up.
mxcmedia.com. All right, check them out if you want to get your car reskinned. Thank you for being in the studio with us this week. We will place those designs online, and you'll be able to choose what you want Project Tyrant to look like on the outside. It's going to be such an amazing project. Thanks for coming, and thanks for joining us, by the way, on the show, everybody. We'll be back next week, but 24/7. You can follow us at testmiles.com. Before I run out of time and crash into the CBS News, thanks for being part of the Driving Nation. We'll be back next week at the same time.